Hey guys, happy Wednesday. And this week's topic, so emotional, X Factor performances. No, I know every week I say the topic is emotional, but it's like, this topic hits home for all of us. X Factor was just where the boys got their start. That's where they, started becoming who they are today. They were like baby steps. Like those were their first few steps. When I watch the X Factor performances, like I just get teary-eyed because it's just like, what is going on right now? Like they have come so far and they were just so, X Factor just reminds me of simpler times. The X Factor performances is kind of what I fell in love with One Direction, because that's all I had, right? When I started, they didn't have a single song out besides Forever Young, which if you want to count that as an actual song, like that's all we had, And like you watch that and that's just like, that's the One Direction you fell in love with. At least that's the One Direction I fell in love with. The uncoordinated, sweet singing, perfect angels on that stage with the X when the doors open. Let's start with Viva La Vida. Okay, Viva La Vida is a really, I watch it sometimes and I'm just like, bless, because they were so precious. They didn't, when they mess up on the they mess up there and they're like Niall and Liam look at each other like, oh shit, because they know that they messed up, and it's just like, that's when they were first starting. That's just so like raw and like natural, because I can't. I'm gonna talk about my favorite performances on the X Factor. There's just so many, but I narrowed it down to 3 of them, and I'm gonna talk about them. One of my favorite performances in X Factor was definitely The Way You Look Tonight. I loved how they were all like elevated on those things, like they all had separate microphones, they were all dressed in these like slick suits, and it was so good. And like Harry, y'all know I love Harry. Okay, Harry has like this amazing solo in The Way You Look Tonight, and it gets me so, I want to cry, because he has like this part where he like closes his eyes and he's like, the way you look tonight, yeah, and he like dips on, girl, you take, and when he does like, girl, my other favorite performance is definitely Your Song. If you haven't watched that video last week, you know that that's the moment I fell in love with Harry, and I love Your Song because that song, and then that's like when they kind of got like, they're talking together, they were like finally like really perfect harmonies, like really knew what they were doing, and they all like come out from the different, like Liam, it's a little bit funny, and like Harry comes out, and then they all come out and they join together, and then like they hug at the end, and when they do that group hug thing, I literally don't think my heart is beating. My next favorite performance is All You Need Is Love, which was the Beatles week, and it was also towards the end. I feel like all my favorite ones are towards the end because they just got, not that the beginning ones weren't good, but like they really progressed once they got into X Factor. And like the other ones, I think that they always have fun when they're on stage. That's the thing I love about them. Like, you never want to see someone who's just like on stage like singing like this. You want to see people who are active and like enjoying themselves, and One Direction are always like that because they're so perfect. Now that I've talked about my favorite performances, I'm going to talk about when they lost. All of them were heartbroken because they had worked so hard, and you could see in their performances they continuously got better throughout the weeks. Like I'm saying, they started with Viva La Vida and they ended with Torn and Your Song, which were beautiful, and Viva La Vida was just precious, they had literally worked so hard. You could tell there was not one day that they were not trying to make themselves a better One Direction than they were the week before. Okay, yeah, Rebecca had an amazing voice, so did Matt. Rebecca, her album did well in the UK or whatever. Matt, on the other hand, I looked up his song. The music video doesn't even have 2 million views. Okay, let's reevaluate. What Makes You Beautiful? Almost 200 million. Winner of the X Factor, Matt Cardle? Not even 2. I didn't get to vote for X Factor because clearly I don't live in the United Kingdom, but I'm just saying, if you were voting in that finale and you didn't vote for my babies, I'm coming for you. Something I actually read recently that I found so amazing was that Simon admitted that the boys, One Direction, they saved X Factor UK because ITV, the company that shows, X Factor, there over in the UK, they wanted to cancel it. They wanted to cancel the contract. And the boys, now that they're worldwide famous celebrities, I guess they saved it because they're amazing. So I'm just gonna say, Simon Cowell, you better send a freaking fruit basket to One Direction for saving your ass. So I hope you feel the same way about X Factor as I do. All I know is I want to go back to those times, and I want to go back to the no drama, and I want to go back. Can I just go back? So if you ever create a time machine, contact me so I can go back to the X Factor performance times and just relive them and be there in their presence. Yeah, if you ever do that, hit me up. Follow me on Tumblr to the info on this video, and have a great rest of the week. Listen.